What's good, gamers? Blood941 here, and today's video we're going to be talking about Kells' fall, my thoughts on that, and also the end of the season. But before we get too deep in the video, if y'all could click like and hit subscribe as well, that'd be very, very cool. I put out videos once a week on Fridays at noon Eastern Time, and yeah, I'd really appreciate if y'all would stick around and follow me into the new year. So thank you very much. Alright, so let's just get into it. I'm not going to waste your time by complaining about the weird holo projector back and forth bullshit. Everybody said every possible thing about it, and I'd rather talk about the narrative a bit more this time instead. First, as always, I like the aesthetics. Bungie world artists crush it like they usually do. The mirror dimension filter over the screen with the weird reflective intangible crystals was very cool. Good job, hell yeah, keep doing what you're doing. Why is there so much downtime in the mission? Like, not just immunity frames on bosses, or not iframes, but like immunity phases on bosses, but like, you spend all this time doing all this stuff. I'm supposed to run it again and again and again, which I did in one day. I ran 3 times in one day because that's what they want you to do for the fucking mission, the end of the story. Why is there so much downtime? This is intended to be farmed, but you did this anyway? Weird decision. So I've said before that I really like the Scorn as enemies. They're like a great antithesis to the Guardians. They're resurrected dead, powered by not the light, but something else, and all they do is kill and be violent, right? But if you're gonna do the all you do is kill because that's all you're told to do thing, then you have to actually fucking do something with it from time to time. Fickrell's been asking the same question since Forsaken, and while they're cool, there needs to be some kind of growth in this department. He's not the only one asking, either, just to be clear. Savathun has been making little jokes about our obedience and enjoyment of violence, how the only thing we can do to communicate in this universe is shoot guns at whatever we're talking to. Lore tabs about wearing enemies as trophies are rather common tongue-in-cheek jokes, and every single time there's a dev stream, they make the same joke about wearing something as a hat. Which, it's an in-joke, it's a community in-joke, so it's fine or whatever. Like, that's not, I don't have a problem with that specifically. But, like, BioShock already did the whole a slave obeys thing all the way back in 2007. Now, I don't mind retreading ground, and if you'd like to explore that topic, by all means have a crack at it. But pointing out the hypocrisy of being a supposed peacebringer, but also the only thing that we know how to do is kill again and again and again, means very little if you don't actually do something with it. Like I said before, I like the Scorn because they asked that question, but you've done nothing other than acknowledge that there's a question there. Are you going to explore that topic any further? Well, no, because Fickrell's fucking dead, spoilers. Okay, sure, whatever. Why are we making every run canon in the narrative? Like, it's not a full MMO, but Destiny is still an MMO, so there's a level of suspension of disbelief for doing activity completions. Like, I didn't think that every run of Stratholme to get the Death Charger actually happened, you know? Maybe you make a little joke about repetition, your in-game dialogue or flavor text, but to say, yeah, you gotta go back into Dracula's fucking castle 10 minutes after you were just in there to do the same exact shit again because you missed something that you couldn't not miss because this is a video game and you don't have any choices. All the enemies are in the exact same spots and even have the non-combat zone aggro thing where they let you walk past in the beginning. Oh, and Fickrell's gonna do the exact same shit again. No changes or new pathways, you just walk past the door you were supposed to have noticed but couldn't because forced failure. Now do it a third time so you can kill Fickrell for real this time? Like, that is stretching it, in my opinion. We know we're doing activities again and again. I have no problem with repetition. I have a problem with going, oh yeah, so now that repetition is part of the narrative, in fact. Why? That doesn't make any sense logically. Why would they just let us stroll in? Why would they let us win? Why would... I don't know. We're focusing our efforts in the same spot. They know we're focusing our efforts in the same spot. Just destroy everything or leave. I don't know. I think that's weird. I really like the organ, or the Scorgan, I guess is what we're calling it. It's cool. I like the little Easter eggs and the fact there was a secret fight, but I do wish the fight wasn't such a fucking joke. The ultimate lack of combat tension in any of these supposed high-stakes narrative events really contributes to the feeling of nothing really matters that everybody's been complaining about since June. Games are an interactive medium, so when the story is telling us that everything going on is potentially a universe-ending threat, but then every named enemy and boss falls over from getting sneezed on too hard, it kills that tension. It's like ludonarrative dissonance or whatever the fuck every pretentious asshole making video game essays has been talking about forever. Like, how could any enemy organize against us to even begin to present a threat if all it takes to storm a well-defended fortress with a mirror dimension is one Guardian throwing lightning bolts every few seconds? Like, suspension of disbelief, sure, But it's been this way for so long, and the feel of that tension is starting to drift away. Like, walking around the fucking Dreadnought felt like we are somewhere we're not supposed to be, and the game is hitting us back. You can stumble upon a public event that is way higher combat level than you are prepared for if you don't know what you're doing. We're walking around in uncharted enemy territory, and I can barely, like, I don't feel any tension. And even when I die, it's not in a darkness zone, so who gives a shit? Especially, like, if you're gonna have a secret boss, why is the secret boss a fucking pushover? He's just a larger scorn captain, or whatever the hell they're called. Okay, cool. I don't know. Expert puts up a challenge, but that isn't what I'm asking for here. I still want difficulty, don't get me wrong, but this time specifically, that's not my argument. I just want to feel like hope is close to being lost. Like, the only thing keeping everybody alive was our intervention in the situation. Because, like, the cutscenes don't really line up with how the game itself feels. Everything's all dire, and everything's gonna die if we don't fucking do something. But, like, then I play the game, and it's like 3 drags shooting at me with patrol AI. Awesome. You couldn't have gotten, like, a new light from the Cosmodrome to go kill this thing? You needed me to do it? Okay. I really feel like I'm the chosen one or whatever. Like, The lack of variation in pathing really hurts the whole spooky Dracula's castle vibe. Being afraid of what's around the corner is part and parcel to the intended atmosphere, and I don't, like I said, I like the aesthetics, but I don't think I've lost the vibe faster in any other mission than this one. Rapid replay coupled with little variance means it's predictable, and if it's predictable, it's no longer spooky. Now, level design is hard. It takes time and money, 2 things that are in short supply for game devs nowadays. But I can't help but think that maybe a trap or 2 would have really helped here. Fake doors leading to death pits or scream closets, maybe a cliche swinging wall trap or some shit. Like, half this mission is in a darkness zone, so insta-killing the player for building the tension of, oh god, do I want to open that door? Do I want to know what's behind that door? Is it going to kill me? Is it going to set me back? Like, yeah, you don't, like, have a hard punishment for that, but, I mean, it'd be better than nothing. The worst we got was lost because we ended up jumping across an area we should not have gone to due to, like, abusing, like, movement mechanics like grapple and eager edge. Like, that's like the worst moment, and it sucked because we broke a sequence, basically. I didn't feel dread or scared or anything like that. I didn't feel any kind of unease. I just felt frustrated because we sequence broke and didn't realize we sequence broke. It's probably an unrealistic ask of me to request some stuff like that, but it just felt like something was missing, is all. So, since recording that part, I read an interview with a couple of developers from Bungie who worked on Kells Fall. I'll link it in the description if you're curious. But it seems like Coulton and I just got unlucky with the variation between runs. So there's supposed to be actual differences between them. Like, the puzzle solutions are supposed to change, the boss lineup shifts more drastically, so make of that what you will. It's just entirely possible that we got unlucky, and I wanted to acknowledge that. Now on to the narrative tied into the mission itself, since this is coupled with the end of the seasonal story. Weird tangent here, and I promise it will make sense. I think. But y'all ever watch the Netflix show 13 Reasons Why? Probably not, because you shouldn't, but whatever. The last season spent a decent amount of time posthumously redeeming a, not good character from the first season. And it feels a little like Destiny is doing the same extremely stupid thing to Aramis, with the only goal being character development to prolong the narrative. Now, yeah, Destiny is on the same level in terms of seriousness as like a shonen anime, where the antagonist redemption to part of the team arc is part and parcel. This isn't a story about a girl that committed the funny S-word that YouTube doesn't like. The stakes are not as emotionally serious, obviously. But if we wanted to put our heads into the space of what this character has actually done and who we're redeeming, Aramis is a war criminal. She's directly responsible for thousands of innocent deaths. Her actions directly led to Rasputin having to sacrifice himself. Those are important moments. Those are horrible things that she's done. Aramis's redemption and idolizing her after all this time is like me unironically idolizing Ted Kaczynski, who then regretted his actions despite his manifesto and was given his ultimate freedom via divine providence. Am I the only one who feels a little like, why Aramis? I just don't understand what we're trying to do here. Why are we redeeming somebody like that? They've done some horrible things. They've enslaved a lot of people. They're a war criminal. Now, all that being said, if Frontiers takes us out of Seoul, which it seems to be hinting that it will, and we get to check out Reese or something through Aramis calling for help, I'll be fine. I'll deal with my weird cognitive dissonance or whatever the fuck, but we need to leave Seoul. We need to get the fuck out there and explore the rest of the notable points in the universe. and Aramis's Deus Ex Machina mission is a great excuse to do so. We are in desperate need of a holy shit moment in Destiny again. We need something to shock the system and get people invested in the mysteries, and leaving Sol, where things are literally unknown, is a fantastic way to kickstart that. I feel like it could have been a different character than Aramis, but it's fine, I guess. On the overall, feeling about how things are right now, I actually enjoyed my time with this season, bugs notwithstanding, but I know that most people really did not. The lack of crafted weapons really made me excited to hunt for specific gear again, but the guns themselves are rather mediocre compared to the shit we've already got, and every other day there was some Reddit thread about how Bungie hate-fucked our wives by removing crafting, or whatever. So I don't expect them to stick to their guns on that, unfortunately. Tonics are a pretty cool first attempt at a true consumable system in Destiny, but the effects were lackluster, and never felt like you needed them, so they were pretty much ignored. It's almost like I was right back here. Side note, with the new craftables, the game would get harder to compensate for an increase to the already overtuned arsenal as a result of the extra buffs and passive effects in place. The game has to keep up in order for this stuff to even matter, otherwise it all just gets ignored. And the only ones that people cared about were the loot ones, which apparently didn't even work. Personally, I never had a problem getting a drop of what I wanted when I'm using the right tonic, but I can only speak to my own experience, and there's reports of people never getting what they wanted until they buffed them, so. We can talk about pacing, but the community wanted everything all at once, so some busy work had to be cut. When you create something under the assumption that it's going to have buffers and things to do between the story beats, but then remove those buffers, your pacing will obviously suffer. Fellow D&D DMs can relate to that, I'm 100% sure. Like, when your players skip something and it feels like they rushed to get to the end goal, it's easy to pivot in the moment in D&D because you can actually control stuff verbally, but in a video game, things are hard set, you know what I mean? So, I understand why it felt like shit this time, and I don't hold it against Bungie all that much. Game dev takes time, and when you have to pivot in the middle, when you pivot this late in the process, things slip through the cracks, so that happens. Overall, it was another season of Destiny 2. Just half the game didn't work, and crybabies on Reddit hated it.
Sun went up, sun went down, nothing changes. Just like you said.
That being said, that's going to do it for me today. What did y'all think of Kells Fall or the end of the season? I'd love to hear about anything that you're thinking about in those comments down below. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day.